So then why don't we get started? I want to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Longfellow Committee. And first item, I guess, is approval of prior meeting minutes. And you'll have to remind me if we vote on those or if we just accept them.
We normally vote on them.
Okay, thank you. Could I ask for motion from a committee member to approve the prior meeting minutes?
I'll move that we approve the prior meeting minutes.
Thank you, Joe. And is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Jeff. And my recollection, Javier, is you guys at these committee meetings haven't been doing the roll call. Just hands up, everybody. Anybody opposed? Okay. We have motion second, and it appears to be unanimous. So now the really important stuff, I think, is next, is the bid opening results. And Mark, are you doing that, or Javier, who's up?
Well, Mark is going to lead us through the deck.
Very good. So good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. It's vacation week, and it's a later part of the evening here, so appreciate everyone tuning in. We're going to just kind of quickly go through. We have a very brief agenda tonight, so it's looking at the bid results and then the next steps. So we had 3 bidders, and the bid opening occurred at 3 o'clock today or thereabouts. And this is the bid form tabulation form that we received from the city. It's a little, I don't know if people can see the light strokes, but we had the 3 bidders were Hardy Pond Construction, Blaine Casey Building Construction, and Great Falls Construction. And the base bid is in the upper table of this. So we had Hardy Pond at $13,550,000, and then we had Blaine Casey at $10,995,784, and then Great Falls Construction at $11,153,375. They did price out a series of alternates, the largest of which, alternate 8, was the cafeteria kitchen addition. So we understand the cost of that addition. And so Blaine Casey was at $2.6 million for the cafeteria kitchen addition. Hardy Pond was at $3 million, just over $3 million, as was Great Falls. So really gives us a pretty strong indication of what the cost of that piece was. The budget that we had established was $10.5 million for construction. And in addition, on line 7 of our budget, we have a project contingency of 10%, amounting to just over $1 million. So half of that we have been using for, or setting aside if needed, for the bid contingency, and half reserved for the construction. And so in this case, if we use the half of the bid contingency, or the half of the project contingency for bid contingency, it puts us at $11,025,000. And so that's approximately $30,000 over what the lowest bid is. So that's good news. That's it means that we have the funds to move forward and award the project with the base bid to Blaine Casey. So that's cause for good celebration. This is the first one out of the chute here, and indeed, it's a great way to start. We avoid having to look at a potential further reduction of scope through any process afterwards. If the pricing had been above our available funds, we would have looked to work with the low bid contractor to bring in the pricing within the budget. And because we're in budget, that allows us to move forward with the recommendation to award the contract to the school board. So I'll pause for a second here if there are any questions on this.
Bill has his hand up first. Go ahead, Bill.
Thanks. This is a great milestone. So I just had a couple quick questions. One, will the 3 bidders find out what the other bidders, will they get to know what the other bids were?
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. This does become, typically this all process is done publicly, that they all go into a room and the numbers are read aloud and everyone has the opportunity to know right there. because during COVID, it's occurring. The tabulation occurs separately, but they probably already have seen them, so they probably were sent out the results this afternoon as well.
I see. Great. Second question was, did you just say Longfellow was the first school to get a successful bid process?
No. This is the first one out of the gate here for the three ones that we're bidding: Longfellow, Reiki, Presumpscot. So this is the first one we've got the bids back on. We haven't bid the other ones yet.
Gotcha.
And LICEF is nearing completion right now. So out of the 4 schools, LICEF was first, and that's nearing completion. And now we're doing the 3 school bids now.
Bill, you all set? Okay, Jeff Levine is next.
Thanks, Nick. Is this a simple low bid, or is there any leeway in terms of how close the lowest 2 were to factor in any other factors?
Yeah, Jeff. So because we have pre-qualified contractors, it is assumed that the lowest bidder is qualified. They're all bidding the same thing. There are no qualifications attached to the bid. They are all bidding the very same scope. So there's not sort of I didn't include this and I did include this. None of that exists. They priced what was the contract scope, and so there's all sort of aspects are that it points to the low bid being accepted. If the low bid decided to pull out, they have to provide a bid bond, which would cover any risk of cost increase to the owner between their bid and the next lowest bid. There's been no indication that they are pulling out, and to see the 2 bids so close indicates that they didn't leave anything on the table, if you will, that it was that they bid the same scope and value as the next lowest contractor.
Great, thanks. And it's a credit to the cost estimation that it's so close. That's great.
Mark, I'm familiar with Hardy Pond and Great Falls, but not with Blaine Casey. Have you worked with them before?
Yes, Nick, we have. We've worked with them a few times. We have worked with them most recently on a school renovation project in Yarmouth, and so we have experience working with them there, as well as I've worked with them on a couple smaller projects through the University of Maine system, as well as the Maine Community College system, and so they were able to complete all 3 of the projects that I'm familiar working with them, complete them all successfully.
That's great, and I know everybody was pre-qualified, but that's great news, and I would reiterate Jeff's comments about estimating how close it is. So it's great news. I don't see any other hands. Does anybody else have any questions? Emily.
I'll just add a celebratory, amazing. This news really actually surprised me. I thought that the bids were going to be high, given that construction materials are going up so much in terms of the cost. So this is just amazing news, and it's a testament to the cost estimator, but all of the great work of Harriman and of our staff, of our operations staff at Portland Public Schools. So I just want to say this is a tremendous milestone, and I could not be happier. And I just want to thank everyone for such tremendous work.
Absolutely. Thanks, Emily. You're absolutely right. Eva's next.
I just have a quick question. Can you remind me when construction would begin on Longfellow and complete?
So so we're going to look to get the contract signed as soon as we can. That will allow the contractor to start with their contracts to subcontractors. They will put together the construction schedule, which is an important part of what their responsibilities are. It starts this summer, and Longfellow, because we have to create swing space within the school in a phased renovation, it will be a 30-month construction, and so it completes in the summer of 2020. Let's see here. Starts this summer. 2.5 years from now is 2025. Have that right?
No, I think a little earlier.
24. Here we got 2022, 23, 2024, the summer of 2024.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions, comments? I am not seeing any. So
So there's,
I guess we don't have to talk about value engineering, right?
that's the nice part we're not having to do tonight. So our next milestones here are the approval of the contract. And the terms of the contract are already written into the front end of the documents that were sent to the contract. So there shouldn't be any surprises there. They know the terms that they're going to be bound to. And so the idea is to get that, get their insurance certificates and their bonds and execute the contract or have it all pulled together and ready to execute upon the school board approval on May 4th. And so that's our time frame right now. And so we're going to work very diligently with the Portland Public Schools to get that all pulled together with the contractor. The next meeting for this group is scheduled for a month from now, the 4th Thursday in May. And so at that point, we can provide another update on where the contract is and where the contractor is, and give sort of people another sense of how close we are to a groundbreaking. We do want to suggest that we start thinking about the planning of a groundbreaking ceremony, which is exciting too. So that can be fun, part of the celebration and a reward for all the hard work on so many people for so many years getting to this point. So, and that's kind of where we're at.
Except in the age of COVID, groundbreakings aren't what they used to be.
That's important to understand too.
Right.
There's still something. I'll take it.
A virtual groundbreaking.
A socially distanced groundbreaking. How about that?
Be nice to include some students in it to the extent we can. So anything else, Mark, or is that pretty much
what
it?
we had. That's the quick agenda. Yep.
Fantastic. Anybody have any last minute questions? Eva, your hand's still up, but I think it's left from before.
It is, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That actually, I do have one other question. And I'll take this down. Have we discussed, and I've missed the past couple of meetings, so I apologize if we've already talked about this, but have we discussed at Longfellow how students will students like be in the building learning during the construction, or will they need to go to another school for part of the construction? I'm just kind of curious about that.
But we do
Sure.
have a phasing plan. Sort of the short, the short answer to that is the kids will be in the building, and there will be portable units that will be brought in, and groups of students will be in those portable units while the section of the building that they would otherwise be in is being repaired. And then we will phase that throughout. We did go through that phasing plan in more detail at a previous meeting, so I'm not the one to do the phasing discussion, but if you wanted, sort of the details on that, you can go back to, was it the most recent one or the one before that, where we actually went through the phasing, and our team obviously would be happy to walk you through how that's going to work. And
I'll look through the documents.
and I know that Terry, is Terry on here?
He is, I think.
Yeah. There you are. You're behind my chat thing. So I know Terry's also working with the team to figure that out. So
Great, thank you.
Bill, you had your hand up again.
Thank you. Yeah, just thinking about that May 4th school board approval, is that anticipated to be fairly straightforward? Yeah.
I mean, the school board does not does not pick, obviously this is, something that went to bid, and there was a winner in the bids. And so there's no additional work that needs to be done. If we had to value engineer or something along those lines, we had already mapped out a contingency where we would have had a workshop at the meeting that would have brought the members of the district advisory building committee and the school board together to sort of evaluate all of those options. But because we're within that contingency, I think we're we look at it as fairly perfunctory.
Good question, though. Anyone else? I don't see anyone, so I think we're ready to adjourn. Great news. Thank you, everyone, for your efforts to get to this point.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, I think we're all set then. Mark, you good?
We're good. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate your time tonight.
Okay, we'll see you guys.
Take care.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.